is my fickle heart. Where would I be if it weren't for your grace, your strength, faithful.
Hey guys, it's Pauline. Thanks for coming on my channel. I know it's been a long time. I haven't been consistent with a lot of things in my life, but I wanted to share this special trip that I recently went on and wanted to share the realities of traveling. Although I haven't been many places, this trip I went to Maine, which was the first time I've ever gone that far up north. I've been down to Florida and all the states, basically almost on the East Coast, I think. I think this trip in particular, which I would never encourage, but I definitely wanted to run away from the problems I was experiencing prior to this trip. Like I said, it's good to reflect and to have moments of gratefulness, to be grateful and to be thankful and to be mindful. I'll be reading from my journal because I wrote everything down, and yeah, let's get into it. I was so surprised that Gil and I managed to stay awake for the majority of the trip. I mean, you have to, right? And I think what helped us stay awake was these conversational cards that I had that really get you into intimate talks. You can do it with your friend, your parents, your siblings. One, it keeps you awake, and two, it also encourages you to think about everything and to relate and to encourage and to just open up conversation and perspective, and you learn a lot from the other person. So yeah, we had so many nice moments of just taking in the beauty of nature, and I was totally at peace. I was in awe. This is our Lou, guys. Like in Shrek.
That'll do, donkey. Come take a look.
No,
My
I'm not gonna show them that.
masterpiece.
I highly suggest is that you take time to yourself, whether you're with a travel buddy or not. And I think sometimes you can get, you know, your energy can get wasted or really become drained when you're around people too much. And sometimes that does deal with having to set boundaries and letting the person know, you know, here, I'll let you have your own time. Another thing I learned is to pack more efficiently. I actually was just so excited about the place that I didn't know there was no running water. I mean, I think I glanced on it, but I just didn't really prioritize that. So we had to go to the store a couple times, get some distilled water, and we used that. But we managed to make it work, and we overpacked a little bit. Like I brought a canopy, which we didn't need throughout the trip. So yeah, I learned about what to bring and what not to bring. Then we had to leave to check out and arrive at our next place that we were gonna lodge at. I just saw in the title waterfall, so like I just really wanted to go there. And this one in particular, this spot was very interesting. We arrived there. It was beautiful. She had a van, she had a greenhouse, she had a yurt, she had a tiny home on this land, and her backyard was like a waterfall, which is crazy. And so when we arrived, we were like, all right, well, we were hoping for her to come to us and greet us, right? And show us where our campsite was. And for a good almost 5 minutes, she was just tending at her garden. She acknowledged us, but she went back to tending her garden. We're like, well, I guess we're just gonna wait. And then eventually when she was done, she came up to us, said hello, did our greetings. We had to put up the tent, and we had to be in a rush because it was almost sundown. So it was a bit stressful, especially for Gil, but big props to Gil. He's really good at it. And if you're watching this, you're welcome.
I got my cook up. Hey, look at this tarp though. You can barely see it, but it just goes up over our tent. The two lights there. Yep.
But honestly, like, I don't think I could camp on my own just yet. And he's very prepared and knowledgeable of all of that. So I'm super grateful he was there. I'm just there to help clean up and help with whatever I can. And what I learned from that is that us suburban city kids, we always expect things to happen instantly. We expect to be served first, and we expect people to be a certain way towards us, which is so sad and annoying for me to say out loud, but it's true. And I learned that, we try to rush things, and in that moment, we could have just embraced everything around us. Within that time, she was mending at her garden. She was definitely, living the moment and just focusing on one thing. And one thing I really find myself doing is multitasking, and I get out of focus, my priorities get lost. But when you're truly mindful and focused, it's more intentional. Us in the city, we really, have been conditioned to have that immediate small talk, but most of the time it's meaningless or, unintentional, right? We're just trying to fill that void of awkwardness. So I learned a lot in that moment, and learned a lot about myself. The place that we've always wanted to go, one thing that I've had on my bucket list for a long time, was Acadia National Park. The site was just amazing. We were up high, and the mountains, the ocean, breathtaking. And what I've learned on that day, we actually were rushing to Acadia because there's like a certain slot you have to enter at a certain time and reserve it, and that was a little bit stressful. And then also, right after we got our ticket, we were just sightseeing, and we found that that ticket was not on the dashboard anymore, and we realized that it blew out the window. So that was stressful, right? But throughout that whole time, I really try to challenge myself to remain calm and not to worry, because you can only move forward. And luckily, we found the ticket right where it was. We drove back up, and yeah, it was just a funny moment of like, wow, I should have never worried or stressed about that, because there's a million other things that's more stressful than that. So we were super grateful. Everything worked out in the end. So yeah, remain calm, trust that everything is gonna be okay. The last night I wanted to reserve a place where we could fully rest before our long trip back home. And so I found a yurt on Airbnb, which was amazing. The videos will explain for themselves. It had everything we needed besides running water. I think no running water is kind of thing over there, which next time I know to look at the description first, but it was cool. So yeah, and we got to play games, have our own individual alone time, did some journaling, had coffee, and cooked. Well, I didn't cook, Gil cooked, but I cleaned, which I'm really good at. And yeah, so it was a really good last day, and I was kind of sad having to go back home, but you always have to go back home, you can't stay there forever, and that's just reality. So I believe that, having these trips is truly a blessing and a privilege, but I think they can be useful in a way for you to recharge and prepare you mentally for going back to home, going back to the circumstances and situations at home, because everyone has their own story. And, having these spontaneous trips can be a way for you to gain perspective. Maybe you were looking at your problems, your issues in life in tunnel vision, and you just have to get out of your environment, get out of your comfort zone to really gain some wisdom. Sometimes all those things, all those answers, or that wisdom, the things that you've been looking for, has already been within you. It's just sometimes we got to get out of your comfort zone and find the key to that, or just simply unlock it, because I know when things get overwhelming, it's kind of difficult to see the other side. So yeah, that's what I learned on this trip to Maine. All right, guys, that's it. That concludes my travel diary. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And if you're someone who wants to travel, because I have so many people who say, oh, I'm so jealous that you get to travel. Trust me, I had no idea that I would be able to go to the places that I've been to. You know, from someone who knows what it's like to live simply, to know what it's like to have to provide for your family, the struggle of providing for others before yourself, and just having to balance and manage so many things. I just knew that I wanted to travel. I didn't know how that would happen, but I just trusted God, trusted my gut, and just went for it. If you have really good company, especially people who desire or crave growth, who really are purposeful, you know, those are the best people to travel with. There is a will, there is a way. If you really desire it, just go. Even if it's just 45 minutes away, an hour, 2 hours, you know, there's so much in this world to explore. And, you know, just going out there really broadens your perspective and really equips you for all of the other journeys you're going to experience, not only, you know, physically, but just mentally, emotionally. So, yeah. Hopefully I get to do this again soon. I don't know how to properly end this. I guess I'll just say what I always say. And if you're a ponderer, then you know, don't forget to always love, to always be curious, and to always ponder.